All right, let's get started then. I am Tom Blair. I'm the district engineer with Missouri Department of Transportation. And good afternoon. April is Distracted Driving Awareness Month, and it is also National Work Zone Awareness Week. That is this week, April 21st through April 26th. And MoDOT and our partners here are asking motorists to partner with us, our families, our contractors, our team members, to make safe, responsible choices when behind the wheel, to slow down when driving through work zones. This is National Work Zone Awareness Week. This is the week the nation is reminded that seeing construction on roadways is more likely as temperatures warm up from the winter. I'd like to welcome all of our guests behind me. We have quite a few speakers, even from Illinois, that are here to share this important message. Traveling through work zones can be risky. It is risky for our workers, it's risky for our contractors, and it's risky for the drivers. Our hope today is to encourage people to slow down, to pay attention as they travel through work zones. This helps reduce the risks for everyone involved. On any given day throughout the state of Missouri, we have 1,000 active work zones. They range in impact from teams clearing or sweeping shoulders, patching potholes, striping, or even more long-term closures for construction that we're going to talk about today. Our workers and our contractor teams work hard to set up safe work zones. They give drivers enough room to safely make decisions and merge out of closed lanes. But we can't do it alone. Your safety and the safety of the workers along the roadway depend on making sure drivers focus and pay attention. MoDOT, just last year, MoDOT had protective vehicles struck 35 times while protecting our roads on the crews that are on the road. These vehicles are driven by public servants. They are some of our team members that are behind me. They are some of our friends that drive these protective vehicles, struck 35 times last year. So far this year in 2024, we're just in April, and here in St. Louis alone, we've been struck 8 times. One of them was just today. 8 times that vehicles protecting our workers have been struck in the St. Louis region already this year. These protective vehicles are often the only thing that protects the traveling public from the crews that are working on the road, that are patching those potholes, striping those roads and everything. They serve as warning to traffic about the work zone. They're not hard to see. I've heard that excuse before. These big trucks are not hard to see. You see one of them that was crashed right here behind me. These are big trucks, lots of lights, lots of horns on them, often flashing lights, big message boards, and yet here they are hit on a regular basis, including today. This is almost always the result of a driver not paying attention and driving too fast. Even more tragically, in 2024, 23 people were killed in work zone crashes in Missouri. Now take a moment, 23 people were killed in work zone crashes in Missouri. That's 23 people that were not able to go home to their families. 23 people whose entire day changed in split seconds. And 23 too many that could have been prevented by simple things like putting down a phone, like paying attention when you're driving, like wearing a seatbelt, and slowing down when coming into a work zone. Before I talk more about MoDOT's project and what's happening in Missouri, I want to turn over to my great partner, the Illinois Department of Transportation, and today with us we have Joe Monroe. So Joe Monroe, come up.
Thanks, Tom. As Tom mentioned, I'm Joseph Monroe. I'm the operations engineer for District 8. Tom hit on a great point. The crash attenuators that Tom referenced is not exclusive to the St. Louis region. In the 11 counties in District 8, we're in double digits. We're at 13 just this year that have been hit. So understand that it's every day, it's off hours, it's 24/7. Tom mentioned it. Our folks go out the worst of the worst. So last night during the storms, both sides of the river, those maintenance forces, the public servants go out in the worst possible time, in the worst possible conditions. Please give them room. But This is always a special time of the year at IDOT. We're emerging from another classic Midwest winter. We're on the way to building more roads, better bridges, better infrastructure, but we're maintaining what we have. So you'll see us out potholing, restriping the roadways, repairing the bridges, improving the ditches, removing debris, litter across our roadways. You'll start seeing us every day, whether it's maintenance, construction. Anytime you see orange, please slow down. Preliminary statistics for 2024 showed that 13 people died in Illinois roadways, 4 of which were workers. A reminder that crashes in the work zone generally have a much greater impact on drivers and their passengers than it does the workers. We're out here because we all are public servants. We're all trying to work on the roads, but maybe it will drive home if you realize, obviously, the workers are pretty defenseless when they're on the pavement, but far more people in the queue or approaching the roadway pass away. So if we can slow down, as Tom mentioned, get off the phone, pay more attention, it'll help everyone. On average, in Illinois, we see 6,300 work zone crashes every year, resulting in over 1,500 injuries. We can and we must do better. It takes all of us. We need your help, not only to get the word out, but replay these snippets throughout the year. We're just starting to kick off, but I think both sides of the river will see the construction actually picks up. We're not at peak season until June, July, August, September. We're just now starting. So the men and women behind us here, they're going to be out there every day, whether it's good weather, bad weather, trying to get a job done, trying to make the road safe for everyone. Remember, this is their work. This is their office. When they're out on the pavement, on a bridge, on the side of the road, they don't get to go to a cubicle. They don't get to sit in a chair. They have traffic going by them at highway speeds. Please pay attention. Please give them room. Please be respectful. Whether you encounter a small crew or a big crew, it's still someone's life. It's still someone's parent, someone's sibling. They want to go home safely just like everyone else. There are many projects that we have in the Metro East. We have the ongoing Interstate 255 rehabilitation that has the roadway actually closed. We have a significant detour that's been marked ever since we closed it over a month ago. We have the 270 River Bridge, a joint effort that is across the Mississippi River. We are going to start the new interchange at 111 and 270 in Madison County. And we just have execution of the B&O Bridge, which is the 5570, very tall, long structure right outside Worldwide Technology Raceway. In fact, just last night during the storm, we had an issue with the bridge, which required us to go out and put a plate on until the contractor can get out there. When you're driving in these work zones or any other work zones on both sides of the river, please avoid all distractions. Pay attention to the signage. Pay attention to the drop in the speed limit. Understand your surroundings and conditions will change, and they may change from day to day, from hour to hour. Look out for slow and stop traffic. Understand all heavy equipment, whether it's these large trucks behind me, the big excavators, they have limited sight distance. They're focused on their task. They count on you. And as a worker, when you get up, we always make eye contact with the operator. Understand, they're focused on what they're doing. They may not be able to see you. And yes, always slow down. If we can take these common sense approaches on every job site, we can help the workers get home safely, and we can limit some of the crashes on the roadway, which also take lives. Our statistics show that roughly 9 out of 10 work zone fatalities are not workers, but the drivers and, more importantly, their passengers traveling through our work zones. As IDOT, we want to make sure everybody does their part. We can construct the roads, maintain the roads, and operate the roads in the best possible manner to deliver the service that everyone expects. But it's a team effort. It's not just the workers. It's not just those of us speaking. It's everyone. We ask everyone to do their part. Drive smart, drive safe, drive respectfully. Let everyone get home safely to enjoy their lives outside of their work. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. All right, now it's time for MoDOT to tell you about all the projects we have. I think given that roads wear out, pause and think about that. Roads and bridges wear out. MoDOT has many work zones all around the St. Louis region. In 2025, MoDOT has $1.2 billion worth of active construction in the greater St. Louis region. That's $1.2 billion of active construction. That includes the historic $600 million construction right here in St. Charles County to improve I-70. I'll talk more about that in a moment. That $1.2 billion worth of work in the St. Louis region, that's nearly 100 projects across the St. Louis region. 90% of those projects are simply taking care of those worn out bridges and pavement and traffic signals. That's work like rehabilitating bridges, rebuilding sidewalks, traffic signals, resurfacing roadways, and other construction to ensure that the roads and the transportation corridors that everyone relies on remain safe and operational. A lot of MoDOT's construction projects are continuations from 2024. In North St. Louis County, Joe talked about it. We have a partnership between Illinois DOT and MoDOT to rebuild the 270 river bridges in North St. Louis County, chain rocks bridges over the Mississippi River. That project is will be completed by December of 2026. It's well on its way to being completed, but the 270 Riverview interchange has a lot of impacts on the Missouri side of that project. So if you're up in that area, if I go southwest St. Louis County, we're in another year of rebuilding I-270 near 64, right in West St. Louis County, specifically at I-270 in Conway, I-270 in Ladue. We'll continue to work on replacing the bridge over Conway one lane at a time, because that's what it takes to get it done without causing too much traffic congestion. This is the most heavily traveled bridge in the entire state of Missouri at 270 at Conway, and we're in our second year of impacts. We expect to be completed by the end of this calendar year with 270 in Conway. Also in southwest St. Louis County, we are in our second and final year of a significant project on Lindbergh Boulevard. As part of these essential improvements on Lindbergh, MoDOT has a 2-month or 60 consecutive day closure planned on Lindbergh Boulevard just north of 64. Again, MoDOT has a 2-month, 60-day closure that has not taken place yet, but will, on Lindbergh Boulevard just north of 64 to replace a bridge over Deer Creek. We expect the closure to start after Memorial Day, and our partners, our contractors, and our utility partners are working on essential utility relocations for preparation of that work right now. So if you drive on Lindbergh just north of 64, you know where I'm talking about. The bridge will be closed around Memorial Day and stay closed for 60 days. We expect that entire project to be done by the end of this calendar year. Last year, MoDOT completed a lot of work here in St. Charles County on I-70, rehabilitating many bridges. This year, MoDOT is going to close Bryan Road Bridge. So Bryan Road over I-70. No. Oh, that's already done. All right. Bad speaking points. My audience is telling me. Forget that. All right. In South St. Louis County and South St. Louis City, we continue to work on the I-55 corridor. The I-55 renovation project contractor is working to finish the rehabilitation on northbound I-55 bridge over Union Pacific between Loughborough and River des Peres. That northbound bridge has been poured. We expect to switch the traffic onto that new bridge, rehabilitated bridge, sometime in early May. We also have resurfacing along much of the corridor, I-55 corridor, from up by the Arch all the way down to 255. That's underway. Much of the paving is taking place on the interchanges right now. Mainline paving will start later this year. All of that work should be completed by December of this year or early next year. Construction continues on I-55 in Jefferson County. Anybody that's been on I-55 about 30 miles south of Arch in Jefferson County will have noticed that this $246 million project to add another lane on I-55 from Route Z to Route 67 is well on its way. It will update interchanges at McNutt, Route Z, and 67. We recently moved the traffic to the new pavements and closed a ramp from southbound 67 to I-55, and that'll be closed for 6 months. The bridge rehabilitation will be part of a major impacts in 2025. This 3-year improvement project to I-55 in the second year will be complete by the end of 2026. We also have some new work coming that's popping up this year. One of the largest impacts is right here in St. Charles County. So in fiscal 24 budget, the Missouri General Assembly and Governor Parson provided $2.8 billion. That's $2.8 billion in general revenue to the state to MoDOT and our industry to add third lane on I-70 from here in St. Charles County all the way over to Kansas City. That's 200 miles of I-70 that will have an additional lane in each direction. And the project that's right here near us is the second project along that Improve I-70 program from Wentzville to Warrenton. This $600 million contract, signed it at the end of last calendar year, at the end of 2024, is the largest project by dollar amount in MoDOT's history. Now, part of this included regular funds that came to MoDOT. So why we wanted to have this here was because the project starts right past this location. The MoDOT St. Louis funds were added around $200 million to improve I-64 as well as I-70. And so right here from Highway K all the way up to 70, the contractor, the winning team, is actually adding the additional lane on I-64 from K up to 70 as we speak. In addition, the project will make significant improvements to I-64, I-70 interchange, as well as help with the bottleneck at the railroad in Wentzville. And on top of all of that, it will add the additional third lane on I-70 in much of the remaining part of St. Charles County, Wentzville area, and part of Warren County. Drivers can expect a lot of work zones on I-64 and I-70 in western St. Charles County. Shifting traffic on both I-64 and I-70 will become the normal situation for the next few years. Normally, we see a lot of good amount of construction or recurring traffic, but between now and the end of this project in St. Charles and Warren County, which will be done by late 2028, there's going to be a lot of work zones. So please pay attention, allow extra drive time through this area. Give all these men and women working on this road the opportunity to get the work done safely. Also along this corridor that we're at here, as you enter St. Louis County, the major rehabilitation work has begun on the westbound Daniel Boone Bridge. That is the older of the two bridges with overhead steel truss. We'll close one lane in each direction. We will shift 2 traffic lanes onto the eastbound bridge. So 2 of the westbound lanes coming in St. Charles County will be shifted onto the eastbound bridge. We will ensure that we have 3 lanes in each direction during peak hours throughout the duration of this work. During the portion of the painting, the Katy Trail will also be closed. These improvements are anticipated to be complete by early 2026. We gave a list to the media partners of all the different projects. There's many more out there in the St. Louis region. You can go to MoDOT.org. You can click on our website, go to our traveler information map. You can study all the different projects. You can even rate MoDOT and our contractors on our performance if you go to MoDOT.org and give us a review of our work zones. You can also call MoDOT at 188-ASK-MoDOT. That's 188-ASK-MoDOT or 314-275-6636 to get transportation information. You can now I'm going to ask one of our partners, Lynn Tinges, to come up on behalf of the Missouri chapter of Associated General Contractors. Lynn Tinges.
Thank you, Tom, and thanks to MoDOT for organizing this event. Really appreciate all the time and effort that MoDOT puts into putting together this safety awareness. Tom mentioned all the different projects that are going on, and each one of those projects really requires certainly MoDOT support, certainly the contractors, but there are a lot of skilled professionals that are out there performing that work, whether it's carpenters, laborers, iron workers, cement masons, operating engineers. Those people all have undergone extensive safety training. It takes a lot of skill and a lot of safe working practices to handle the tools properly, handle the material properly, handle the equipment properly. The last thing they need is someone coming into their workspace and creating an unsafe condition. When there is a crash in a work zone, when people aren't paying attention, Certainly, it has the opportunity to hurt the worker, hurt the MoDOT people. Also, I can guarantee you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to hurt yourself and your passengers by not paying attention in the work zone. Tom mentioned all the MoDOT work that's going on. I will guarantee you there is just as much work going on, if not more, for St. Louis City, St. Louis County, St. Charles County, Washington County, the surrounding states as people take their families on vacation this year. Every work zone in every municipality, every interstate highway, every rural road, every urban road, you need to pay attention. The 5 seconds or 10 seconds you may lose by slowing down is well worth the 5 years or 10 years you may spend in the hospital or worse. So please pay attention, slow down, keep your eyes on the road, put the phone down, wear your seatbelt, have respect for the safety of the professional craft workers that are working in those zones, for all the work the contractors have done to create a safe working environment, and for yourself and your passengers. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. I spoke earlier about protective vehicles and that we use, like the one that's damaged behind us, that we use them to warn of work zones, as well as the effort of our crews and our contractors' crews to make work zones safe as possible. Today we have 2 families with us that have been impacted. And one of those families is the Lyndon Epker family. And Lyndon was our team member at MoDOT. He was killed in the line of duty in April of 2026, just before this event in April of 2016, just before this event. And I would like to ask Kelby Herbal, his granddaughter, to share some of the impacts from the loss of Lyndon.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Tom said, I'm Kelby Herbal. This is my younger sister, Audrey Herbal, and we are the granddaughters of Lyndon Epker. 9 years ago, on April 7th, 2016, Lyndon Epker was preparing to enjoy his day off when the phone rang. They needed help removing salt off of the Route 100 bridge in New Haven. Lyndon got dressed and drove to the Beaufort MoDOT shed. He got in the truck and drove to the site just like he had hundreds of other times. On this specific day, Lyndon and his best friend, Al Calkins, would be flagging. The work zone was set up and they were going about their jobs when Lyndon saw a gray Volkswagen coming towards him. The car was not slowing down. Lyndon knew at this moment, just before the car struck him, that he would not be returning home. April 7th, 2016 was Lyndon's last day on the job. It was also his last day on Earth. 9 years ago, on April 7th, 2016, Nicole Herbal was going about her day-to-day when her husband Isaiah called her. She assumed he was calling to inform her of something pertaining to one of their 2 daughters or with exciting news from his day at work. When she answered, the news was not exciting in the slightest. He had called to tell her that her dad was gone, permanently. 9 years ago, on April 7th, 2016, Kelby Herbal was going about her normal routine as a first grader. She had her lunch and recess for the day when the office called down and said she'd be getting picked up early. Kelby hoped it wasn't to go to the doctor. She didn't like getting shots. When Kelby walked down to the office, she saw her mama waiting for her, which was not out of the ordinary. Her grandma had picked her up from school and taken her to appointments several times. Thankfully, this time it was not for an appointment, but it was for something far worse. She spent all day wondering what could possibly have happened, but she couldn't find out until later that night. Kelby had woken up shortly after they got home and went to ask her mom what had happened. At that moment, her mom told her that she would never see her grandpa, her best friend, again. I am Kelby Herbal. granddaughter of fallen MoDOT worker Lyndon Epker. I've spent the past 9 years of my life without a grandfather due to the lack of attention of a driver. My grandpa has never gotten to hear me give a speech. He's never seen me in an FFA jacket. He was not there the night I became an FFA officer. He has never heard me play the tuba. He has never seen me show a pig. All of these opportunities were taken away from me because of a decision that someone else made. I never got to see my grandpa again because someone else decided their agenda for that day was more important than someone else's life. Everyone on the road is someone. The people you are driving by on a day-to-day basis are someone's son or daughter. The choices you make are not only affecting you, but everyone else around you. Please pay attention, put your seatbelt on, and get off your phone while you are driving. Everyone wants to make it home safely. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelby. In 2021, MoDOT lost two of our own during a crash on Telegraph Road near Interstate 270. And I would like to ask Tanya Musgraf, the mother of Caitlin Anderson, who lost her life that day, and her unborn grandson, Jax Jarvis, to say a few words.
Hi, my name is Tanya Muskoff. I'm Caitlin Anderson's mother and Jax Jarvis's grandma. On November 17th of 2021, Caitlin went to the doctor, and the doctor told Caitlin that she can stop worrying, that her baby was coming. He was healthy. He was beautiful. November 17th at 9:30 at night, Caitlin called me and said, "Mama, I'm going to be a mom. My baby is coming. He's healthy." At that time, my heart felt a feeling that I can't describe, knowing that my daughter was getting ready to be a mom, and one heck of a mom she would have been. It was just amazing. On November 18th of 2021, just one day after Caitlin found out that she was being blessed with a beautiful, healthy baby, she went to work for MoDOT with two other employees, and she didn't get to come home. She didn't get to be a mom. I didn't get to be a grandma, all because somebody didn't slow down and move over in a work zone. As I stand here today, and I pray that one of you guys listen, that 5 minutes earlier, 5 minutes later, that phone call, it's not worth the lifetime of pain that's going to happen to yourself and to the family that loses a loved one. Caitlin was an amazing daughter. She was honest, she was hardworking, and she was proud to be a mom. And I was lucky to have her for a daughter. November 18th of 2021, my life changed. I'm not the same. Caitlin didn't get to be a mom. My husband didn't get to be a grandfather. And my son didn't get to be an uncle. I was told this morning before I came here that people don't listen. They're not going to pay attention. They don't care what we say about slow down and move over. Well, I beg to differ. As the two beautiful ladies just said, how can you listen to what they said and not be courteous and more careful driving? I asked you guys to please slow down and move over in work zones so the people can behind me and the hard hats get to come home. Because at the end of the day, all I have is Caitlin's hard hat. I won't get to meet my grandson. I won't get to see Caitlin be a mom. I won't get to see her walk down the aisle. As a mother and a grandmother, I beg you guys to please slow down and move over so the workers get to come home at the end of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. MoDOT team members and the crews and our contractors are important to us. We never want to lose an employee, a team member, a friend, a coworker, not to have a father, not to have a mother or a spouse or a grandmother or grandfather, not to make it home. Therefore, we must encourage people to wear their seatbelts and put their phones down, to slow down and to move over, to avoid speeding, do everything they can to be in safe and work zones. But when that isn't enough, there must be consequences. We rely on law enforcement partners to help keep our work zones safe. And here today we have with us the Missouri Highway Patrol and Illinois State Police. And first I would ask Missouri State Highway Patrol Corporal Dallas Thompson, and then followed him will be Lieutenant Mike Link from the Illinois State Police Troop 8. So Dallas, will you please come up?
Stories like that are always hard to follow, aren't they? But we're here today to talk about something that affects all of us. That's road construction. All right. Every year, thousands of crashes occur on our highways, often resulting in serious injuries and oftentimes fatalities. What's even more troubling, that most of these crashes are preventable. They happen because of impairment, speeding, distracted driving, or just simply not paying attention to the warning signs. Construction workers are out here doing critical jobs. They're repairing roads, upgrading the infrastructure, making travel safer for all of us. But they're doing it just feet away from fast-moving vehicles. So they rely on drivers to drive cautiously and responsibly through these work zones. So here's what we can do. First off, we can slow down when you're approaching these work zones and obey the warning signs. Second, we can stay focused on the roadway ahead. Put down your phones. Avoid distractions. Keep your eyes on the road. And third, be patient. Yes, we know construction zones are an inconvenience at times, but just a few extra minutes each day is not worth the lives of other people. So throughout this Work Zone Awareness Week and in the coming weeks and months, the Highway Patrol is going to partner with MoDOT and conduct enforcement operations in identified work zones. Hopefully our mere presence will gain voluntary compliance from the drivers and they'll just slow down and drive safe through those work zones. If not, we will also be there to enforce traffic violations as needed. We do have the move over law. Make sure that you're slowing down when you're approaching these workers and move over if possible. If you can't move over, drive at a safe speed, slow enough where you're watching for hazards and then you can react responsibly as they come upon you. Let's just all make a commitment in these work zones, not just for the crews that are working them and making our roads safer, but for ourselves and other drivers on the roads. Thank you.
Thank you, Corporal. And good afternoon. I'm Lieutenant Mike Link with the Illinois State Police. ISP is pleased to join MoDOT, IDOT, the Missouri State Highway Patrol, our community partners, and also our surviving family members for being here and recognizing the 2025 Work Zone Safety Awareness Week. The Illinois State Police is dedicated with partnering with stakeholders throughout Illinois and Missouri to protect construction workers, first responders, and the motoring public. ISP continually deploys officers to construction zones to monitor traffic flow and identify drivers who disobey work zone speed limits and violate other traffic laws. With many construction projects throughout Illinois, ISP reminds drivers to allow plenty of time to travel, slow down, avoid tailgating, and most of all, pay attention to the road in front of you. Speeding, distracted driving, and driving while impaired in work zones are serious offenses which can result in tragic consequences. Day after day, ISP officers handle preventable crashes, whether in work zones or when someone fails to move over for an emergency vehicle. The move over law, known as Scott's Law in Illinois, requires drivers to move over and slow down when approaching a stationary emergency vehicle with its emergency lights activated. The move over law does not only apply to law enforcement vehicles, but also to construction vehicles, ambulances, fire vehicles, IDOT emergency traffic patrol vehicles, tow trucks, and other authorized emergency vehicles. ISP and IDOT urge drivers to also move over for any vehicle on the side of the road with its emergency lights activated. We've heard it all. Move over and slow down for emergency vehicles. Despite this, we continue to see crashes, including deadly crashes, because someone failed to move over or slow down. To help end this reckless behavior, we want the public to know that if you fail to move over and slow down in Illinois, you will get a ticket. The days of receiving warnings are over. Move over or get pulled over. Today, we ask you to help spread our safety message to the public to keep our road workers safe. Not only do we need to make sure people are aware of the laws, but we also need to make sure they understand the role in helping saving lives. Thank you very much.
All right. In closing, we need you all to drive safe through our work zones. The men and women behind me and all the men and women out there working on the projects, whether it be a maintenance patching a pothole or a full-blown out project like Improve I-70 all across the state of Missouri, we need you to buckle up. We need you to put your phone down. We need you to slow down. We need you to move over. Your decisions as a driver can make the difference between us and you arriving safely or having deadly consequences. Anytime you pass workers on the roadway, remember to buckle up, put your phone down, slow down, move over if you can, stay alert. These are key behaviors so that everyone can get home safe every day. Now we're ready to take some questions, but I do want to highlight we have some laborers behind me that actually work out on the road and train others to work out on the road that would be happy to talk individually to any of the media partners here. I also have Brian. Raise your hand, Brian. He's one of our MoDOT team members out of the Eureka Maintenance Building. And Brian has had the unfortunate outcome of being struck by motorists 4 times. 4 separate times has he been driving one of our protected vehicles, protecting his co-workers that were on the ground working, and got struck. So if any of you want to talk to Brian on an individual basis, feel free to reach out to him. But for the speakers that spoke today, we will take any questions while we're together before we break up.
Is drivers using phones behind the wheel, is that a main cause of work zone crashes?
So the question is drivers, I'll let the crowd answer. Is drivers using their phone while driving, is that a contributing factor to work zone crashes?
Yes.
Number one.
Number one. And do you think that Missouri's new distracted driving law that bans phones and devices behind the wheel will not help?
Come up here. So she's saying,
Do you think Missouri's new distracted driving law that bans using phones and devices behind the wheel?
Well, I definitely think it's a step in the right direction. It's a little early in the data collection to see if it's made an impact yet. I know across the state of Missouri, we've issued close to 500 citations so far this year for that violation. It is a secondary violation, so we can't just stop someone because we see them having their phone in their hand. We have to observe another traffic violation. But definitely, we know that phones are the number one leading causes, or not phones, but distracted driving, number one leading cause of crashes. And phones is a big part of that. So hopefully going forward with this new law, it will definitely reduce some of these crashes.
any other questions? Any other questions? All right, hearing none. Thank you very much. Again, we have individuals that you can interview or talk to any of us individually. Thank you for covering the story and getting the word out.